loves this deck because he loves Gurmag Angler. He's been playing as Tom Keating, who is playing Punishing Abzan. So what's going on here? I got myself some Chalice of the Void, some Life from the Loams, Punishing Fire, Liliana. This looks very Jeff Hoagland-esque, actually.
I have to imagine a deck like this is solid against Delver strategies. You have a lot of removal, a lot of card advantage. I would imagine Loam plus Wasteland appears in the deck. This is typically a good recipe for beating Delver strategies, although sometimes your hands are just a little disjointed. A lot of moving parts.
We have been informed here, Patrick, as here is a Punishing Fire targeting Deathrite Shaman via Ken Crocker on Twitter, that there are arm wrestling competitions at the Sugarloaf Awards. So if you'd like to flex your muscle, you certainly can. Force of Will removing Stifle is going to take care of the Punishing Fire.
I would consider myself to be a pretty substantial underdog in an arm wrestling contest between either Andrew Boswell or Reduke and myself.
Reduke, yeah.
But I would still go for the experience.
I just would want to watch.
Yeah, maybe they have a Friends of Sugarloaf arm wrestling division, so I can avoid the top games involving the actual residents.
Young Pyromancer is the follow-up here for Dylan. Perhaps he'll be making some tokens of himself, which is what he made once he won the Season 4 Invitational last year in Seattle. For Keating, it's not a bad start. The Punishing Fire did get countered. But the question is, what are the follow-ups here? Does he have a Grove of the Burn Willows? Looks like he has another copy of Punishing Fire. He wants to go after Young Pyromancer. We'll see if this is going to resolve or not.
I think in a matchup like this, Donegan has to be pretty aggressive, just getting his board on the table and trying to end the game before Keating draws out of this. If there's any sort of counterspell here, I'm even happy to use Force of Will on this. Get a clock on the table. Keating's deck is going to get some disjointed draws, but if you drag the game out, Keating's just got a huge advantage.
I'm going to Force of Will again.
Yeah, I like this play.
Okay.
I think Donegan's got to get a board going here. He's got to punish Keating for his stumble.
He is empty-handed. It's his second turn. Dylan will draw. Didn't get a great look, but he's sacrificing fetch line right away, so this could be a nice find. Underground Sea. Gonna come across here for 3. And what do we have here?
Oh, Wasteland, yes! Perfect.
Yep. It's gonna remove
the perfect draw, in fact. It's not just any draw.
The perfect draw. Remove Punishing Fire from the graveyard via Deathrite Shaman and Wasteland.
Now all Donegan needs to do is draw Shatter. We're done.
Yep.
The flawless.
It can't be Smash Smithereens, though. It has to be actual Shatter.
Yeah.
Smash Smithereens much too good right now. Here's Verdant Catacombs. Keating going to sacrifice that.
Pretty lucky.
Yeah.
That's actually a huge draw for Keating because his hand's quite color mana sensitive. You see Abrupt Decay and Night of the Reliquary. So the Wasteland was good for Keating to have him play, but it wasn't really helping him cast a whole lot in his hand. Now he can start casting some removal spells, buy himself a little bit of time, find a third land, and then he really gets something going.
And he can search for a basic, which is pretty nice too.
Yeah, the Verdant Catacombs is great here.
Now, Keating does have a copy of Abrupt Decay in hand. I'm actually not sure what he's supposed to target with Abrupt Decay right now between Pyromancer and Deathrite Shaman. It seems pretty close.
It depends what the leftovers are in Keating's hand. I mean, the Young Pyromancer is a pretty large short-term concern. Okay, we're going to be doing this.
I'm not in love with this.
Well, I think the line of play here that Keating's trying to do is this guarantees Night of the Reliquary next turn. Then he's got a really big blocker in play, and then he can start doing his thing from there. I would have preferred to use the removal spell, but I understand what Keating's trying to go for here.
Now, if he draws like another Mox, then I like that play a lot, because maybe he can double spell.
He's also probably worried that the Loam is just going to fall off a cliff in terms of value because Donegan is going to start using the Deathrite Shaman to potentially strip lands out of the graveyard, so that might be his one window.
Okay. He also does get to waste the Black Source, which now he can kill the Young Pyromancer, and now Deathrite Shaman's not all that scary anymore. What is this? Daze. Okay, Daze just to make a token.
Yep.
Okay, sure. Young Pyromancer down. Dylan is barely hanging on here. Let's see what he drew. Didn't get a great look. Gataxian Probe. Get a good look at what Keating is working with. Sylvan Library, Night Reliquary, Verdant Catacombs, and Green Sun Zenith.
I mean, you can see the route here. You know, he gets to play his land next turn, gets Knight in the play. Knight's bigger than anything that Donegan has. And then from there, he can start taking advantage of the more powerful cards in his hand.
Wasteland the draw, but basic.
So close.
Yep. Tropical Island, come across here for 3. Keating down to 6. Tom will draw, trying to stabilize. If he sacrifices Verdant Catacombs, it's going to bring him down to 5.
This is a quintessential Delver game here. Of
Yeah.
Get out in front early and hope to barely hang on and push through the last points of damage as the opponent starts to stabilize.
It's going to be a scrub land. That one can't be targeted by Wasteland. Though that will add a land to the graveyard for Night of the Reliquary, so there are some things to consider there. That assumes Keating is going to go towards Night of the Reliquary, and it looks like he's thinking about it.
Well, he has the option also for Zenith for 2, though I think he would prefer to run that play next turn because then he can get Scavenging Ooze, start eating stuff in the graveyard, gaining a little bit of life.
Yep.
And then he's got a good cushion to work with.
Yeah, I'm not sure Ooze is the best way to go this turn. It feels like Knight might be a little bit better. I think it's close, though.
Well, I think that the other thing about Knight is next turn you get to have 3 mana in play, and then also Knight basically generates 1 more mana. So you get to Zenith and then have mana floating, so you can use the Ooze right away.
Also, I kind of like leaving Scavenging Ooze in my deck because I think it's actually a pretty good natural draw.
Correct. Also true.
Donegan will draw. Picked up a copy of Force of Will. That's not what the doctor ordered. Now, if I'm Dylan, I think I still like activating Wasteland here.
Yeah, I'm gonna get him here.
No, well, we know what you would do.
Donegan got to look at the hand last turn. It's a little clogged. A lot of expensive stuff.
Keating trying very hard to stabilize. I'm curious to see if Dylan's going to attack. Because there is some value in bringing him down to 4 for double Deathrite Shaman activation, even though he doesn't have black mana yet.
Right, he can't attack with everything because then Keating blocks the Deathrite Shaman, the door's shut. But he can get at a point this turn, and maybe Keating can't answer it.
A lengthy turn here for Donegan.
Well, it's tough.
It's not an easy one.
This is the whole game right here because the door is closing on Donegan very fast. I do think that you had to send in the tokens this turn because this might be your last turn of combat for the whole game. I don't know if there's going to be another opportunity to attack.
He's going to pass. Keating will draw Verdant Catacombs. Another thing to keep in mind, too, is Dylan does have Lightning Bolt in his deck.
Yes.
So, you know, he can work towards that thanks to Deathrite Shaman. Looks like Keating is going to sacrifice Verdant Catacombs, go down to 4.
And with Lightning Bolt in the deck, I think that makes an attack the previous turn with the tokens even more attractive because then you have Deathrite Shaman to make red mana and Lightning Bolt's lethal.
Curious to see what land Keating's going to search for. The basics, I'm on the hunt. Okay, it's just 1 forest. He has like a 4-color mishmash deck, so to be able to even play a basic is pretty nice. I can't imagine there'll be multiples.
Right.
There's Zenith. I think it's Ooze. Yeah.
Yeah, the Keating doesn't really make a whole lot of sense right now, so.
Dried Arbor's kind of off the table, too. Now, there are a ton of creatures in the graveyard. There's just a young Pyromancer over there.
But this is the consequence here of Donegan not attacking the last turn, is now there's 2 blockers against 2 creatures. The tokens aren't going to be doing anything.
Now, you might be wondering, what kind of lands can Keating search for with this Punishing Abzan deck? What's really going on here? Well, the first one that jumped to mind for me was Grove of the Burn Willows. He got search for that, get Punishing Fire back, and start going that route. Now, he might be attacking.
No, I think Donegan just drew and passed the turn.
Okay.
I think he just missed.
Got it. All right, here's an activation from Dylan. He'll remove Young Pyromancer in response to the Night activation so that Scavenging Ooze can't get that.
Yep.
Yeah, but I like getting a Grove here a lot. Get Grove, activate it, give Dylan a life, get back Punishing Fire. So maybe start going that way.
Well, once you get the Deathrite Shaman off the table, Donegan's got a Tropical Island in play and 2 1/1s.
Yeah.
The Deathrite Shaman is threatening for a variety of reasons. It represents damage if Donegan can find a black source. It also represents any color of mana. So once you get off that off the table, Keating's advantage in the game becomes very commanding.
Yep, there's Punishing Fire with the ability to bring it back. All right. Force of Will removing Daze.
That's a painful way to do it, obviously, because the Punishing Fire is going to come right back. But if Donegan loses this Deathrite Shaman, the game's essentially hopeless. There's no coming back, so he's got to at least try to keep it in play for 1 more turn.
Donegan will get a life. Punishing Fire has to come back now, and the off chance that Donegan does peel Black Source. What a Dylan draw here. Did not get a great look at all. Deathrite Shaman is going to remove a land. That's going to make Night a little bit smaller. Delver. Okay.
Delver's not shabby. It's essentially another draw step the next turn, since Keating will likely have to use the removal spell on Delver of Secrets rather than Deathrite Shaman.
Yep.
Not a great draw, but it at least forces Keating to not kill the Deathrite Shaman.
Remember, I guess, Deathrite was another card, too. That Dylan, had he attacked, could have brought him down to 3.
Yeah.
And then if Delver flips, you get in for 3 in the air. Being at 4 right now, like if I'm Tom, there's no way I'm searching for a fetch land. Like, then my deck can get a land and go to 3. I don't like the idea of doing that at all. Getting Grove's okay, but one of the problems with getting a Grove is you've just taken a forest off of it. He has no lands to sack with Night now.
Correct.
So,
but I don't think that's a huge deal here. I think that once Keating has this game stabilized, if he can get the Delver of Secrets and the Deathrite Shamans off the table, he's going to go on the offensive pretty soon. Keep in mind that once the Deathrite Shaman dies, then the coast is clear for Scavenging Ooze to start eating things. Right now, the Ooze is sort of being prevented from growing because Deathrite Shaman is managing the graveyards. Once that's no longer a concern, Keating gets to gain some life. He gets to make a second large creature back to block, and Donegan, again, he'll be missing colors of mana, have nothing in play, and be losing on the board. All Keating has to do is basically get out of the next 2 turns without anything disastrous happening, and he should be fine.
Mox Diamond was the draw here for Tom. Dylan's going to take a look at the top card. Ponder's not shabby. Now, Punishing Fire can, of course, take care of the flip Delver. And now Dylan's going to cast a Ponder. Yep. Kill that. Dylan going to take a look at 3 cards here. Black Source is pretty good. This is immediate shuffle, though. We think. Dylan looks to be a little unsure.
Well, this is a window here, if Keating wants to use the Scavenging Ooze to eat the Deathrite Shaman, with Donegan having no mana in play.
Now, that'll be after the Ponder resolves, of course, because Dylan isn't sure if he wants to keep or shuffle, and now he's actually got a question. At least it appears that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Keating's trying to respond right now with the Scavenging Ooze. Feels like the ship has sailed on that because Donegan's in the process of resolving the Ponder. The fact that he went to shuffle there is information, so I think that Donegan will get an opportunity to play a land there. I think ideally there for Keating, he would have responded to the Ponder by eating the Delver of Secrets, so Donegan doesn't have an opportunity to play a land and get out of the graveyard in response.
Well, it's getting confusing here for Dylan and Tom, so in the meantime, let's talk about Dylan a little bit. Of course, our Season 4 Invitational champion last year, 18 years old from Cary, North Carolina. He's working his way into college now. We haven't seen him as much as we did last year, but someone who's pretty skilled with the game for how young he is.
Absolutely, 18 years old, and the respect of a lot of his peers. Invitational top 8 with the win back in 2014, qualifying for the Players' Championship, and 6 Open Series top 8s in spite of not really getting out to too many of them.
Well, it looks like he's going to keep with Ponder. Okay, so he's going to keep with the Flooded Strand and just pass the turn back. So Deathrite Shaman activation is at the ready.
Yep.
That's worth noting. Now, Keating did not return his Punishing Fire there on the end step.
Or activate the Scavenging Ooze to swallow up the Delver of Secrets.
Yep. So what's next here for Keating? And what did Donegan keep with the Ponder besides the fetch land? Because it looked like he was going to shuffle immediately.
Yep. The big issue here is that there's no land that Donegan can search for that allows him to activate Deathrite Shaman and cast Lightning Bolt. So he's going to have to kind of choose between one or the other.
All right, Delver. Pass. Now there's some funky stuff with Punishing Fire and Deathrite Shaman, and they have like a weird kind of, the trigger is really weird with this. Whenever they gain life, but you're giving them life through a mana source, it's very strange. Donegan's going to sacrifice that fetch land. I think Black Source on the way. I can't imagine he has bad lands, right?
No, there's no bad lands, and he couldn't get it with a Flooded Strand anyway.
True,
so
that's true.
There's no choice here.
All right, so Punishing Fire is back in hand. All right, so Deathrite Shaman is going to be the target. Now for Dylan, you got to deal him 2. Remove something. Abrupt Decay is down. Keating's going to go down to 2. Punching Fire resolves. And now there's a Delver that wants to flip. Keating will draw. I think he may have found life in the loam. That's risky, though.
Well, he can go play a land. If he has the ability to get, he can make essentially 3 mana here with Grove plus his land drop plus Knight.
Yep. There's please say that backup Mox.
Yeah, he's got a Mox. It's fine. It looked a little greedy on the surface there, but he's got this. Oh,
he's got plenty of Mox.
2 Moxes. This actually makes mana for him this turn. Okay.
And he's got Scavenging Ooze, which can remove some creatures now. It looks like he's turning the corner. Sylvan Library. He's got to be a little careful. Take a look at the top card. Now, if Delver doesn't flip, none of it matters.
Right. That's why, with Dylan being empty-handed here, and there's a concession, Keating can simply wait. If Donegan reveals something, well, it's still on the top of the deck. It's not in his hand, so we can kill Delver if that's the thing to do. And if not, there's no reason to rush.
Well, that's game number 1. Tom Keating is going to win that game over Dylan Donegan. Punishing Obzon up a game here over Grixis Delver, which means we take a look at the sideboards here for both players. Dylan Donegan is going to be the player who is going first. So, 4 Cabal Therapies, 2 Power Blast, 2 Surgical Extraction, 2 Painful Truths, an Abrupt Decay, a Submerge, a Dark Blast, a Pit Needle, and a Flusterstorm.
This is not a very good sideboard for the matchup. And not that I blame Donegan, because how are you anticipating this matchup? But outside of the copy of Submerge and Abrupt Decay, there's not a whole lot to be excited about. I think the 2 copy of Painful Truths fine here. And it's possible, even though I don't think Donegan can necessarily win a long game, that so many of Keating's cards are so problematic for him that he'll bring in the therapies.
On the other side of things here for Keating, He's got 3 Leyline of the Voids, 2 Thoughtseize, a 2 Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, a bunch of 1-ups here in Containment Freeze, either Sworn Candidates, Reclamation Sage, Golgari Charm, Toxic Deluge, Engineer Explosives, Girk Relentless, and a Maelstrom Pulse.
I kind of just want more removal spells here. Maelstrom Pulse, Toxic Deluge, Golgari Charm. They're all very powerful cards to bring in here. And I think that I would also bring in the Garruk.
Yeah?
Yeah, sure. It's not the easiest thing for Dylan to remove, and if it's on the table, it does a lot. It's very hard for Delver strategies to beat Planeswalkers that make threats every turn. The best thing they can do is make a 3/2, make a creature about as good every single turn.
It also gives you a way to kind of kill the Delver if it flips too, which is, it's an expensive way to kill it, but it is a way to kill it.
Yeah, Garruk seems fine to me here.
It counts for something.
Young Pyromancer as well.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so if you're going to have it in your sideboard, I mean, for whatever reason, this seems like a fine matchup to bring it in.
Well, here's player shuffle up here for game number 2. We're going to talk about the Star City Games a YouTube page where you can go back and watch the replays of this tournament and a whole bunch more.
Tons of archives there, the premium archives, versus series content, open series archives, and content that's exclusive to the page, like unboxings. You can go to youtube.com/Star City Games, become a subscriber today, and get notified when new content is uploaded to the page.
You know, to go back and watch the replay of this match. An interesting and fascinating game number 1 there between Keating and Donegan.
Yep, and you can see why I really like Donegan being aggressive with his Force of Wills early on in the game, because you can see what happens once Keating gets his shop set up. There's no attacking to be done on Donegan's side of the table. So use your Force of Wills very aggressively. If Keating's stumbling a little bit, try to get some pressure into play. Donegan came up a little bit short, but I think that if he tried to play a slower game and save his Force of Wills for what were ostensibly better cards, he would have gotten swallowed up.
This is a tough matchup for Delver decks.
Yes.
Punishing Fire running around, a little bit of acceleration there in Mox Diamond. Abrupt Decay, of course, good against Delver strategies too.
It's a really good mixture of cards. You have spot removal, and Abrupt Decay it may be the best spot removal spell against this deck. You have Loam plus Wasteland, and with cards like Scavenging Ooze and Night of the Reliquary, you can also just brawl on the ground. I mean, every type of angle of attack you would want to have against Delver, Keating's deck is presenting.
We didn't even mention Chalice of the Void.
Oh yeah, sure, whatever. Just for good measure, turn 1 Chalice of the Void.
4 of those in here too.
This is right out of the Jeff Hoagland playbook. Right
This is very similar.
Before he quit playing Legacy, all of his decks looked like this. This is about right. Loves Mox Diamond, loves Chalice, loves Loam. Really enjoys the 3-mana creatures, Knight especially. It's right up his alley.
Small little Green Sun Zenith package here.
Small, just a taste, just a dash of Green Sun Zenith. Maybe hop back into the format, man. Here it is.
This wouldn't surprise me if this is just Jeff's, like one of Jeff's decks, because there's even the 4 Dark Confidants here.
Yeah, 7-1.
Yeah. Who needs Brainstorm?
Yeah.
Dylan will be on the play.
Dubious mixture of card advantage and card disadvantage glued together by various backdoor soft locks. This is just what Jeff does. I don't know.
Well, 2 Abrupt Decays, Punishing Fire, Golgari Charm, a Badlands, a Savannah, and a Wasteland.
Just confirming here that Savannah plus Badlands allows you to cast Golgari Charm. It does.
It does.
Can you cast Punishing Fire? Yes, you can.
It's combo.
Yeah. Night of the Reliquary might be a little ways away, but we got draw steps.
Yeah, you draw a card every turn.
Okay.
It's the best part about Magic. Yeah, Dylan just going to play an Underground Sea with some flourish.
Well, there's only one play here.
Yeah, get after him. On the upkeep, on the upkeep.
Upkeep. Oh, whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa!
Clearly, you do not agree with Tom Keating's use of Wasteland here.
I guess Keating's rationale here is Donegan can only make this play if he has Stifle in hand.
Yes. The draw for the turn was Chalice of the Void.
Sweet. Another reason not to Wasteland. You want to just do that after you... Because Wasteland plus Chalice is a combo, because they can only cast 2 mana spells, and then they don't have 2 mana.
Yep. It's all coming together.
Yeah, love it. I would have preferred for Keating not to lead with the Wasteland.
Yeah, that's the only thing I don't love.
I guess his concern on the other side is that if Donegan Wastelands him and Keating leads with either the Badlands or the Savannah, then the color mana situation's a little dodgy.
His hand would kind of fall apart.
Right. So it's an awkward opening here from Keating, but given all the factors here, I understand what's going on.
Now the question is what land to play. Because I think you got to go for the Chalice.
I mean, if you're willing to play the Wasteland on turn 1 instead of something else, I think you have to play something on the board on turn 2. It's also not like Chalice gets a whole lot better if you wait a bunch of turns. Donegan can just cast all the 1-mana stuff out of his hand. So I agree. I think he's got to go for it this turn.
There's Badlands. It's just going to pass. That's a little surprising to me.
I guess his plan this turn is just a Punishing Fire instead.
Sure. No Delver flipped.
I suppose he doesn't really care if the Punishing Fire gets countered because he can play Abrupt Decay next turn.
Yep. Here's Brainstorm. Punishing Fire in response. Now, we saw in the previous game Dylan aggressively protect his creatures. It's hard for him to overcome all this removal.
It's a little bit different this time around because he knows that Keating just can cast Abrupt Decay next turn.
Yep.
So if Donegan doesn't have another threat to follow up with, now if he wants to use a Daze here, that's a great spot. You cast in Daze in this spot 10 times out of 10. But I think the Force of Will here, you're way less likely to see just because of the Abrupt Decay in Keating's hand.
And also, he hasn't played land yet.
Yes.
So he can use that land as his land for the turn.
Daze is great there.
Yeah. Daze will play. There's Pluto Delta. In for 1 comes the Delver. Any follow-ups here for Donegan? He looks like he has another Delver. He's just going to pass the turn back, though. There's the Savannah. Colors online.
Well, sort of. He's got neither Reliquary in hand.
Yeah.
So he's most of the way there.
He's got spells he can cast.
Right.
See what's next year for Tom.
He's going through some hoops playing around Daze, I felt like. But
I think he's trying to play around it to the best of his ability.
when your deck's full of 3-mana spells, you can only do so much.
Yeah. On the upkeep with the Delver trigger on the stack, Dylan's going to sacrifice the Polluted Delta. Going to get a Volcanic Island. Check with Delver. No reveal. Uh-oh. I can't tell if it was accidental or not.
Whatever.
Yeah, we're past it. Another Delta past the turn back. The interesting thing about the way that Dylan is playing this game, I couldn't tell you if his hand is strong or weak.
Yeah.
I got no clue. I know there's another Delver over there, but I don't really know much outside of that. And it actually kind of makes the game fascinating. It feels like he's playing the game in a unique way, but if he had the best hand ever or the worst hand ever, it wouldn't surprise me. There's a Chalice for one. Well, he better have something to do about this. Because this deck has a lot of 1-mana spells.
And Donegan, with the exception of one copy of Abrupt Decay in the sideboard, can't get this off the table.
Well, there's a lightning bolt that went upstairs.
Not a good sign.
No. No. And now all Dylan can do is pass the turn back. I do not like where this game is going for him now.
His deck is drawing pretty slim. Oh, my goodness, yes. The second Wasteland.
Yeah. And a night to find more Wastelands.
Get him. Yes.
Yeah, that's
and
one.
Can't stifle. Chalice in play.
Dylan is left with just one land now. He cannot stifle. Technically, he could stifle.
And it is his one Abrupt Decay is very overloaded at this point, too.
There's a Delver of Secrets.
Does he remember the trigger?
That's on him. Nope.
All right, Dylan's going to fight on.
That's the best chance he's got.
Yeah.
He needs time to miss the triggers.
At least you can take that away from the the game here. Probably going to lose, but at least you got your Delver in through the Chalice.
Yeah. His card, he's got to remember it.
That's a Cedric Phillips move right there. Rather than concede, see if we can just resolve some one-mana spells.
It's a sub game.
Go out swinging.
It's a sub game. I'm on like a 1%er to win, so I'm gonna play like a little. Play a little mini sub game now.
Yeah.
Looks like Tom might activate Knight here. Maybe find another Wasteland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not going to wasteland him here, why are you even showing up to the event? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? This is why you sign up to play this deck. It's for moments like this.
Just gonna pass. Delver. Brainstorm.
Well, now I actually think it's okay. He's shuffling away the brainstorm. Interesting.
Well, I want the Brainstorm. I just resolved the one mana spell.
Yes, I suppose there's the guessing game of, well, can I sneak this brainstorm through?
What's off limits as far as what mana spells are concerned? It's just a guessing game now. I got one through. It's like a snowball. Draw a card. In for 3. This isn't looking good.
Oh, there's one Mazavith in here. That's why.
Oh, boy. Okay.
That's why he's doing this.
Found room for a maze?
Yep.
Not even like the Gurmag Angler plans out the window, probably. Maybe Keating doesn't have it in his deck anymore.
I mean, this matchup is...
I'd be surprised if it's gone.
Delver matchups, if you're going to sneak a maze in the deck, it seems like you got to have it here.
It's going to get a Grove of the Burn Willows.
Keep in mind that Keating can also just race. All right, here we go. Yeah.
All right, he's back.
He's back. I appreciate Donegan keeping up appearances, though. You ran the first time, you got to act like nothing's going on.
Yeah. I was going to get back Punishing Fire. Okay, yeah, Dylan says no more, thank you. I can't work my way through this. Tom Keating's going to win this match here over Dylan Donegan, 2-0. Punishing Abzan is going to take care of Grixis Delver. And what looks to be a bit of a Jeff Hoagland brew here in the hands of Tom Keating is 8-1 after day 1 of competition.
And I imagine that he's got a great matchup against all shades of Delver.